シャラさダダダディダダドゥダダうなるエンジンで涙なんかぶちぎれ
Welcome to the Super Sentai Brothers. This is episode 24 of Licensed to Carranger, the internet's best and only podcast dedicated to Gekisou Sentai Carranger. Every week we watch an episode of the show and we share our thoughts with you, the listener. My name is Matt J. With me as always is my co-host and brother Dave. Dave, how you doing today?
Doing pretty well. Not as hot as I have been.
Oh boy. It's like mid-80s right now, and that is, like, it feels like a chill winter breeze.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yesterday, I went to go look at the temperature on my phone, and it said, oh, well, it's 96.
Don't know why you did that.
But it feels like 103, and also there is a severe heat warning, so be careful if you go outside.
Yeah.
Which all is to say that I picked a really good time to get this air conditioner.
You did. We only have air conditioning, like we have window units, but we do have fans that we run all summer. And, you know, like when you run a fan 24/7, you kind of go through fans quickly.
Right.
And they're sort of bulky, right? So the long and short of this is that I've got like 4 box fans in my room that are broken. And I was like, well, you know, maybe they're just like gunked up, right?
Yeah, that
maybe
definitely
if I,
happens.
Yeah, like maybe if I like get in there and like vacuum them out or whatever, like the fans will work again, and I won't have to like buy more fans. I'll have new fans, or you know, functioning fans. So I like, get the screwdriver out and I'm like taking them apart. I felt a lot like Grandpa, and I get them apart, and of course it's not that they're gunked up, like they're just busted and like the wiring broke.
Right,
but
right.
I did notice as I get the engines apart, the engines, they're all made out of aluminum and they've got like a lot of screws in them and copper wiring. And since I've been playing a lot of Fallout recently, I was like, like I had to fight back an urge to say to myself, like, I should keep this. Like, this is good scrap. Like, I might need this.
Screws
need this
are
later.
A premium scrap item. They are difficult to come by when you need them.
Yeah, so I didn't. I did manage to fight back that urge, but I did have a moment. I did have like one of those moments where like you've been playing a game a lot and it sort of invades your life a little bit. Yes,
absolutely. Like when you've been playing too much Jet Grind Radio and you're like, I could grind on that, even though you're not wearing skates and have never skated in your entire life.
Right, or you've been playing Spider-Man and you're like walking by a 3rd-story window. You're like, oh, that's not too far. Like I can make that jump. Cannot. So yeah. So I didn't. I just threw those in the garbage. I've got a lot of... it's very exciting for me. This is garbage day. Beth has been on a brutal clean of the house. I've got so much stuff to throw away.
Do you have
so good?
Like, is it one of those big garbage days where it's so big that you need to like call ahead and warn them?
No. It's just like it all fits in standard garbage bags. There's just going to be a lot of them. I'm very excited about it. Yeah, this is like on a list of like, you're middle-aged when, like you're just stoked about throwing stuff out. That's me. I'm very excited to throw all these things out. Well, Dave, none of this is a star, Matt.
I was going to say, you know what I'm very excited about?
Oh, I should have just waited for it. I should have had faith in you. Sorry.
Dave, I'm excited about talking about episode 24 of Gekisou Sentai Carranger. It is called Urgent Launch, New Leader. But of course, before we get into that, Dave, shining in the heavens, there are 5 stars. Would you like to hear what the first star of the week is?
Sure would, Matt.
Dave, this is sort of a binary system with a star and a black hole. Let me lead in.
Reference.
Thank you. Let me lead in with the black hole. Is that my beloved Volvo station wagon had a check engine light that was on, and so and my birthday's quickly approaching, and so I've got to have my car pass the e-check so that I can get new plates before my birthday.
Right.
So I call the mechanic. I schedule a time to come in. Like I actually called ahead and scheduled a time to bring my car into the mechanic, which almost never happens.
So responsible.
And every time I do, I'm like, man, I'm being so responsible. I'm taking care of things. Everything's turning up great. I take it in there. I schedule some time to work from home that day. And around 1 p.m., I call into the shop to see if the car is mostly done, to see if I'll be able to pick it up by the end of the day. And I'm like, okay, how are we doing? And as it turns out, Dave, we were not doing well. And the frame of the car in the wheel well had just completely corroded away, and there was kind of nothing holding the strut in place anymore, except for
Yeah.
There was definitely something there because the car hadn't actually collapsed, but when I went into the shop to look at it and he brought it up on the lift and I saw the whole thing sag, I was like, oh, this is not how that part, that gap there is
Wayne
just supposed to be more
told
car.
you he basically told you it's a miracle you have not gotten in a wreck with it. If you had hit a bad pothole, that would have been it.
Right. And so suddenly my car, which up to that point had been a car, ceased to be a car. And it is now just an extremely lifelike car statue. It is something that is it is one of those things that it is a performance art piece to see how close you could get to being a real life car without having the function of a car. Anyway, so that's the black hole. And basically to be able to fix it, he would have to take the entire car apart and put it all back together, and it's just not worth it. So, that is the black hole. The star of the week, though, Dave, is that I am now the proud owner of a 2005 Toyota Prius.
Oh, congratulations. I have a 2006 Toyota Corolla, and it served me very well. I've had it for a few years now. Been very happy with it.
Oh, I remember the car that we used to drive when we were in high school was a Toyota. It was a 91 Camry, right?
Yeah, I have driven several Corollas and Camrys. Always been very happy with them as cars.
Yeah, so anyway, that is the star. I'm pleased with it so far, although there's a lot of weird things that I'm not used to yet. Like the gear shifter looks kind of like a toy. It looks like the gear shifter on an arcade game.
Oh, you got a manual?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's a Prius. It's like a hybrid automatic. It literally is just
right.
It's this little knob that sticks out of the dashboard, and you tap it up to go into reverse and tap it down to go into drive.
Oh, yeah, that is weird. But man, I have kind of a theory about that, which is all cars are weird.
Yes.
I've never gotten in a car and just been like, oh yeah, this is all completely fine. There's always something, because I think it's because you spend so much time in your car.
Right. And since not all cars are exactly the same, you have just very finely calibrated yourself to the weirdness of your car, so all other cars are strange.
It's like how you don't notice that your own house has a smell, but you go to someone else's house and you be like, this house doesn't smell like my house. It's like that. Did that take a weird turn?
That makes complete sense.
You all know what I'm talking about, though. So anyways, Matt, congratulations on the Prius.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was, for all things considered, it was a fairly painless transition. Anyway, Dave, what is our second star of the week?
So our second star of the week, Matt, is my wife Beth. So it was her birthday recently. Happy birthday, sweetie. I don't know why I said that. She doesn't listen to the show. She listens to it like secondhand. She doesn't actually listen to the show. She just listens to me talk about the show ex post facto.
Okay.
So she gets all of the information. She just doesn't actually. Anyways. So it was her birthday. I was like, oh, what are we going to do? And she had expressed some interest a while ago about doing an escape room. So here's what I did. Because she had said, she's like, I'd really like to do a birthday party, but often I end up planning my own birthday parties because I feel like if I don't do it, it won't happen. But I also find it very stressful. And I said, wow, 10 years being married, find out new things all the time. Did not know that. Just assumed you were planning your birthday parties because you like to plan things, which, in my defense, she generally does.
Sure.
But she was like, yeah. Anyways, we had a whole discussion about it. It was very fruitful.
I definitely agree with her. I also don't like planning my own birthday party because even though I have nothing against planning events in general, I find it very difficult to say like, hi, everyone please schedule a day to celebrate me. Even though I do genuinely like it when people do schedule some time to celebrate me. I frankly think they should be doing it more than once a year. But it's sort of weird email to send.
So if you say so, I used to throw myself lavish dinner parties. So anyways, I said, listen, here's the deal. I'm going to throw you a not surprise party in that it will not be a surprise in that you know it will happen, but I'm not giving you any details about it. Like, I'm just going to set the whole thing up. She's like, that sounds amazing. I was like, cool. So we did, which I was actually I was sort of proud of the idea, like a not surprise party. Y'all can have that one for free. So I said, what are we going to do? Let's go do an escape room. We've never done one of these. I forgot she actually had done one like with her brother like a year ago, but we as like a whole had never done one, and there's actually one fairly close to us. So I was like, we went and did this escape room. Guys, this like leisure phenomenon that's sweeping the country,
turns out
pretty fun. Turns out pretty fun.
Now, Dave,
also,
had you not done one of these before?
I had never done one of these before. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to throw out a couple of things about this. First of all, they are very cool. Second of all, I feel like I'm not a business person. And as a non-business person, obviously, I have very strong opinions about businesses.
Of course.
Naturally. I feel like I could make bank running one of these things. Like, it does not seem as though... Like, it seems like the overhead is like nothing. Like, once you get it... Like, this initial startup costs are, like, there. But I feel like once you get it set up...
That's the thing, is, like, once you, like... You have to spend a good while, like, designing puzzles and constructing the rooms and, like, building all of the stuff and, like, the little bits and bobs.
Like, the little widgets and everything?
Yeah, like, one... And that, I think, is probably very expensive. After that, you just kind of have to, like, hire someone to work at the front desk.
Right. So anyways, it was tons of fun. Here's the second thing. Here's the fun piece of news. Hey guys, if you've been to an escape room and you've never done LARP and you think like, oh no, LARP isn't for me, but you had fun at an escape room, I have news for you. LARP is for you, friend. You'll have fun. Like if you dig the escape room, you'll have fun. Like it's effectively the same thing. Like it's not as complex and there's more hitting, but like
I wish, and I bet this does exist somewhere, I wish that I could go to an escape weekend, like, have it be a weekend LARP event, but instead of having, like, puzzles and also fighting and also, like, politics, it's just like, hey man, here's a weekend. It is a series of, like, puzzles and riddles, and like, that's the whole thing. Like, everything else, like, you might play a character. Yeah, like, make a character, wear a costume, but it's going to be, like, in a hotel, or, like, at a convention center, and the whole thing has just been constructed as, like, an escape weekend. That sounds great.
Matt, I don't know that does exist, but I bet it could. Anyways, so we had a blast, and then we went to dinner afterwards, and you guys went and had fun, and I came home and put my twins to bed.
Which I'm sure was fun in its own right. Or at least rewarding.
Gratifying and rewarding, Matt. I don't know that I would use the word fun. Anyways, Matt, escape rooms, stamp of approval. What is our third star of the week?
Dave, our third star of the week is that I was out the other day and I saw upon the television there was a program. It was on ESPN, Dave. You know, the sports network.
Sorry. Yeah, I disconnected the fact that you were out when you said that, and I was like, why in the world did you see a program on ESPN? That just doesn't seem like you, but you were out, you were someplace else.
Right.
Got it.
And this program, Dave, was called Holy Moly. And
okay.
And I want to remind you, this was not, like, this was on ESPN, a sports network.
Right. Hey, real quickly, Matt, I'm looking at our notes, and I see that you have... Is that how they spelled it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Because it is spelled HOLEYMOLEY. Dave, it is a extreme miniature golf tournament. That's the holes. I'm
sorry?
And it has a man in a mascot costume that is a mole costume, hence the moly. It is an I'm sorry, did you not catch what I said earlier? It's an extreme miniature golf contest?
Yeah, no, I did. Sorry, just still reeling. That's fine. Didn't have anything to say about it.
There was one hole that they were doing, and I really regret to say that I only saw like a very little bit of this, but there was one hole that they were doing where there was
How extreme are we talking here, Matt?
So it was a series of platforms with like ramps in between them. They started at the bottom and they had to get to the top, right? And that's where the hole was. And you have to miniature golf your way up there.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the concept.
Now, while they are doing this, there are people. There's sort of like a track on either end of it, and people have these giant foam logs and are just rolling the logs down the hill towards the golfers. So you have to take the time to like aim the shot and take the shot, and then you need to try to jump over this big foam log that's rolling at you so that it doesn't just knock you completely over. And it's, Dave, it is the wild and crazy kidsification of, like, adult... Like, I realize now that, like, I'm turning 35 in a few weeks, right? But, like, when I was a kid, Wild and Crazy Kids was a show on Nickelodeon where it would be, like, like, various Nickelodeon stuff. Like, Guts,
this is just Wild and Crazy Kids.
Like,
it's this
Guts,
exactly.
Wild and Crazy Kids, Double Dare. Like, all the people who are now 35, who grew up when that stuff, like, Legend of the Hidden Temple and all that stuff existed... I feel as though we're now just translating that Nickelodeon stuff we loved as kids into adult shows that are on ESPN. And Dave, I could not be happier about this.
I am just so... Dude, I want the job of, like, dude who decides, like, what show gets made. I just, like... I don't understand the metric. Except, you know what? I don't know why I'm saying this, because I was about to question that guy, and then I realized that this show sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's very good is the thing about it. Okay, let me just give you a list. I pulled up the...
Sorry, no, I'm watching a video. Rob Riggle is the color commentary for this. Yeah, I'll watch basically anything with Rob Riggle on it.
The first hole is called Dutch Courage, in which contestants must hit through a small mini-golf-style windmill situated between two large windmills. The large windmills have large, quickly rotating blades that can knock the player off the putting surface and cause stroke penalties. The hole lies past the second large windmill on a slope. So that's the first hole. The second hole
really hoping that they had to like take a few shots beforehand.
The second hole is called Caddy Smack. There's the Arc de Tree Golf.
Apparently Steph Curry is the executive producer on this thing.
Well, that's the first thing I've ever heard that made me like Steph Curry. Anyway.
Listen, he had to come up with something, right?
Yeah, this is a program that I would like to watch again someday. And I hope if I ever do, man, I feel like this is going to be on my my short list of shows. Like, it's this, Forged in Fire and Forged in Fire Knife or Death.
Knife or Death? I missed that one.
We had a star about Forged in Fire, Knife or Death. That is the one where the contestants from Forged in Fire come back and have to go through
on like the profession,
like a cutting stuff obstacles course, which sounds shockingly dangerous, but it's on TV. It's hosted by Bill Goldberg.
Oh man, television is just the best thing.
Sometimes. Anyway, Dave. What is our fourth star of the week?
So our fourth star of the week, Matt, it was San Diego Comic-Con. Let's talk about Comic-Con announcements, by which I mean let's talk about MCU announcements.
I mean, there's other stuff, too.
Yeah.
There's going to be a new Adam
Strange
hear about
book.
That stuff. Tom King, Mitch Gerads, Doc Shaner. Sounds good. Dude, there's a lot of new X-Men news. Dude, okay, here's the one piece of new X-Men news I want to say. Dave, there's a book that's coming out, and the title of that book is New Mutants. Do you know two of the characters that are in this New Mutants book?
No, I don't. Listen, all my comic book stuff is 6 months behind.
I know, but let me just tell you, Dave. Two characters in this book are my favorite dude, Chamber.
And nice.
Also...
Wait. Is it Chamber? Like, he's back, and he's just full-on Chamber now? We're good?
I mean, it's a picture of Chamber on the cover of a comic book that is not out for another 6 months. That's all I can tell you.
Okay, got it.
The other dude is a minor, short-lived Generation X character who has never really appeared since then. Dave.
Is it Mondo?
It's Mondo.
Nice. Yes. Yeah. I'm doing air punches. I love Mondo. That's so great.
And I don't know what's going on with that, because he was only ever in 10 issues and he was a villain, but he's back, apparently, and he's on the New Mutants.
Oh, man, that's super cool. So I know that we have a number of... Marvel has announced like some stage 4 stuff.
Oh, dude,
right?
I spent all of yesterday trying to not let myself get super hype about this stuff, because I know that sometimes we probably go a little too hard on like being excited about Marvel movie stuff. But guys, there's really exciting Marvel movie stuff.
Avengers Endgame is now and this is like largely a meaningless thing, but like Avengers Endgame is now the highest grossing movie of all time. Like I think a lot of people are excited about this stuff.
I know. I just, I try to temper my excitement a little bit sometimes. But guys, Blade is back, and I don't know what to do about that.
Okay, yeah, I'm a little bit torn about that. So Blade's going to be played by Maharaja Ali, which is rad.
Yes.
Because that dude's rad.
He's great.
And we've already seen him in...
He was in the first season of Luke Cage.
Yes, I only have a minor concern about him, which is he is already in... the Marveliverse?
Well, I mean...
Sorta, kinda?
That is not the first time they have done that, though, you know? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, I know they did it with Chris Evans, but that was like flipping between Fox and, Fox and Disney. So, anyways, that's
also
did
it with Michael B. Jordan, who was also previously a Human Torch and then was Killmonger.
Well, yeah, but again, it was between Fox and... Anyways.
Yeah, but this, the Netflix stuff cares about what has happened in the movies. The movies do not care about what has happened in the Netflix shows.
Yeah, it's a lost opportunity. Anyways, so I really like Mahershala Ali. He's a fantastic actor. The only thing I was like, okay, like Blade 2 was not great, and Blade 3 was objectively
hold on,
terrible.
Sorry, Blade 2
outside
rules.
of like a few.
Blade 2 has
I'm sorry, Blade 2 does rule.
Okay. I was
Blade
going to say,
Blade
maybe you were misremembering because Blade Trinity is so bad, but Blade 2 is very good.
Yeah, Blade Trinity is really, really bad, aside from like some bright spots with Ryan Reynolds and Parker Posey.
And Triple H, weirdly.
Yeah, but Blade 1 rules.
Oh, Blade, if Blade had never existed, I don't think we would have the current like movie landscape that we have today. Like, Blade was the first big Marvel movie. And, like, it was the thing...
Does it predate...
I think it predates X-Men.
Wow, really? I'm not sure. Anyway, the point is, like, Blade rules. Like, that first movie, I went back and, like, watched some clips of it. It holds up. And I am fairly certain that the new movie will, hey, Mark, get your finger on the button, will not include the phrase, some motherfucker always trying to ice skate uphill.
Which is a shame.
Which is a shame, because it's one of the greatest lines in cinema history.
I listen, I am both very excited about this. But the other part of me is sad that it's not going to be Wesley Snipes again.
I'm going to see it.
But on the other hand, the first Blade movie came out like 20 years ago, and we could probably stand to get a slightly younger dude in there.
Yeah, also Wesley Snipes is insane. So I heard about that. I heard about Eternals.
Yes,
Eternals, which is buck wild because it's got Angelina Jolie, who fine, but it's also got Kumail Nanjiani in it.
Yeah, and Salma Hayek.
What?
Yeah, dude. Kumail Nanjiani's been in a lot of movies recently. He is having a year or two.
No. I'm not. Listen, that's not a complaint. I love that dude.
Very excited about that. Did you hear the news about the Thor movie?
I heard that there's going to be a new one because everybody else apparently is like, oh yeah, these movies have been wonderful and really formative and they've been fantastic, but I'm kind of ready to hang up the super suit. And Chris Hemsworth is like, nah, man, Thor forever. I will make these movies till I'm dead if you let me.
Okay, here's the quick bullet points on the new Thor movie. It's called Thor: Love and Thunder. Taika Waititi is directing it again. Jane Foster is back, and she's going to be Thor.
Oh, yes.
That
sounds amazing.
Very excited. Did you hear that they're making a Shang-Chi movie?
I had heard rumors about that. I'm very, very excited.
Shang-Chi might be the next one that comes out, I think.
Oh, seriously?
Dude, yes. Shang-Chi's going to fight the Mandarin, and the Mandarin is going to be played by, I might be mispronouncing his name, but Tony Leung, who, if you do not remember him off the top of your head, is the guy who isn't Chow Yun-fat in Hard Boiled.
Oh, man!
And he's also the guy
Nice.
with the broken sword in Hero. He's in like a million things. Those are like the two things that I think of him from off the top of my head. But like...
Let's see. Oh, yeah, that guy. I know that dude.
Yeah. So that's going to be super great. What other things am I, like... There's just a lot of stuff that I'm thrilled to pieces about.
Yeah, dude, Eternals, I know there's going to be a Loki show, there's going to be WandaVision show, they're doing a Black Widow movie, which is like, I know they said is going to be like a flashback, and it's going to happen like right after Civil War, so that rules.
And she's going to be
I'm really
fighting
hoping
the
that it's a little more...
Taskmaster?
Dude, that's amazing. I'm really hoping for a really, like, you know, like a more Black Widow-y Black Widow, you know, because she's really an espionage character, and I don't feel like we got some of it in, like, Civil War, but not as much as I would have wanted. Anyways, just, yeah.
Scarlet Witch is going to be in the new Doctor Strange movie. The new Doctor Strange movie is going to be called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, dude. Just lay it on me, man. Like, you guys know what I want. Just do it.
I feel like we've talked about this long enough that now this is our 4th and 5th star, right?
Yeah, sorry. This is 4th and 5th stars. The thing that I am so stoked about is it's like, okay, I think the thing that I really dig about it is that, like, and if you're listening to this show, like, you know, like, nerd stuff is fun. Like, it's really, really fun. And a lot of people look at it and they're like, oh, like, that's dumb and nerdy, and, like, I'm not interested in doing it. And it's like, guys, I mean, like, it's goofy, but it is a lot of fun. Like, comic books are fun, and Dungeons & Dragons is fun, and LARPing is fun. And if you would come out and, like, just give it a shot, you'd have a blast, and you would have a lot of fun, and, like, we would all do this cool thing together.
Yeah. Now,
like,
I will
listen,
say...
not everything is everybody's thing.
Sure. And also, I'll say, like, I feel like the amount of people who are doing that right now is probably higher than has ever been in recorded history. So it's
No,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm super stoked about it. I think it's great, like, all of this stuff. And it's sort of, like, drawn people in very slowly, and, like, all of a sudden, like, at first... you were watching, like, Blade the Vampire Killer, and you're like, oh, yeah, like, hardcore action movie. And now, it's 20 years later, and you're about to watch Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Like, welcome to the club, buddy. We've all been waiting for you.
Right. And, like, you don't, like, when you put Blade in the Marvel Universe, you don't have to do anything to explain, because at this point, we're like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. It's all weird. Like, listen, I was recently reading an issue of The Avengers, and on the last page of The Avengers... it's a full-page splash, and Blade walks onto the page. He's like, hey, I'm Blade. I'm the new Avenger. We gotta go kill some vampires. And Dave, there's literally no comic book or movie or TV show that if that was I would not want that to be the last page or, like, scene of. Like, any single Marvel property, if the very last thing after they finished, as they're going into their next adventure, it's just Blade walks on screen. It's like, hey, man, let's go do this thing. Like... vampires are real, we gotta go punch Dracula. Like, absolutely! That's great!
Without question.
Anyway, I just got really hyped about Blade there for a minute, sorry.
No reason not to be.
But you know what else I'm hyped about, Dave? It's Gekisou Sentai Carranger. Episode 24 was written by Yoshio Urasawa. Its original air date was August 9th, 1996. You can watch along with us on the DVDs or stream it from shoutfactory.tv. And we will be right back to tell you all about it. Okay, welcome back. So, we have just finished watching episode 24. And Dave, I honestly had a little trouble following this one.
Yeah.
Because there were bits that were introduced early on that later on I realized I had completely misunderstood.
Yeah, it was... okay, I have mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings about this episode. It's... okay, I think that... let's just talk about it.
Okay. It's
so
a fun Minoru episode.
It is a fun Minoru episode. I also think it's a fun Kyousuke episode.
Yes, but the thing is, like, I feel like it's more of a Minoru episode than it is a Kyousuke episode, and Minoru is, like, the goofball, and so in the Minoru episodes, things are especially goofy, and, like, which is great, but it's also kind of just like, in our position as people who try to explain what's going on in the show, the goofier episodes do not make that easier.
Okay. So we open up on, there's a cloud and a field, and there's some kids. I think they're like hunting butterflies, but they could have been hunting like beetles or something.
I think there was cicadas is what I was getting. I didn't do a Google search to see when like cicadas had cycled through in Tokyo and if like 96 was one of the years.
So okay, well, real quickly, Matt. I mean, there's annual cicadas. Like not everybody has that. Here's the thing.
Really?
Yeah, here's a buck wild thing that might not be the case where you live. In the part of the country that we live, there's a bug, and it's called like the 17-year cicada or something. And it like pupates for 17 years, and then like once every 17 years, there is like a plague of cicadas. Like they cover it's horrifying.
We have actually talked about this in the past because
it was a cicada year a few years ago.
Right. It was like, I think it was maybe during season 2 of the show, it was a cicada year, and it was in the middle of summer, and I was genuinely worried that I was going to like open my windows to be able to have the room be cool while I was recording, and there would just be like a cacophony of cicadas coming in from outside the window. As it turns out, it was not actually a big problem in my part of town, but like, it's wild.
It's real weird. But no, there are just cicadas that are just like every year cicadas.
Well, that's boring.
I think I'd rather have that than the cicada plague if I had to pick.
Listen, Dave, we're a few minutes in. We're still stuck on a singular cicada. We got to keep rolling.
Well, I have more notes on cicadas, actually. But anyway, so these kids are like hunting.
Okay. No. I mean, hey, if you wrote down notes, let it rip.
Well, we'll get there. It's not at this part of the episode. So anyways, these kids are like hunting for a bug of some sort. I didn't actually see what it was. I just know that it's a bug because they've got a bug net. And then I hesitate to call him a monster. He's
definitely
a bozo, but he is not a monster. He is TT Turan, and he is the smartest of the bozoke, which doesn't seem like a real big... It's not like a real high bar to get over from what we've seen so far.
There was definitely a moment where I was about to call this show out because the show starts with the two kids hunting a bug and they're just about to collect the bug. And actually there's a great bit of like physical comedy where they're just about to put the net on the bug and then all of a sudden they turn to the side and TT Terurin is like standing right there. Like, there's no way someone that size could possibly sneak up on anyone. So, like, it's all just camera work, and it's very fun. But there's a moment when I thought, hey, wait a second. This guy can't be the Bozoke bug collector. We have already seen Bozoke's greatest bug collector.
Yeah, that would have been good. So his... Okay, I'm trying to figure out this dude's look. He's... Like, his body is definitely like just like a school kid, but then he's got like a big hypno disc head, but with like watermelon hanging from it.
He's got like watermelon earrings. He's got big sort of square, like thick Coke bottle glasses. Yeah, it's a difficult look to describe, although the watermelon earring or like headdress things that are hanging off the side of his head are weirdly relevant.
Okay. So he's like, you guys he says to the kids, he's like, you should not be catching bugs. You should be studying. And the kids are like, wah, like they don't like that. But then like the scene's over. So far this bozoke seems to be on the side of education. We go from there, and we see Minoru. He walks into Pegasus. Oh, this is my other note on cicadas. We see the sign for Pegasus Motors, and when we first see it, it's like zoomed in on this cicada. It is of like staggering size. Like it's got to be a prop. This thing's got to be like 4 or 5 inches long. It's huge. I hope it's a prop.
either it's a prop or the sign is much smaller than we're led to believe, and it looks larger via camera work.
Yeah,
usually.
maybe. I don't know.
And now that we have something like sitting next to it,
That's the last of my cicada notes, is that this cicada is staggering. But anyways, we see Minoru. He's super hot, and
he's very warm. It's a warm day.
well, yeah, but he's also a good-looking dude.
Oh, sure.
And
Snappy dresser.
Right, so he goes to work, and he walks in, and the only person there is Kyousuke. He's like, where's everybody else? Kyousuke's like, oh, man, it was, like, super hot. They all went swimming. I'm just here eating lunch. Minoru says, like, oh, what's for lunch? Which leads me to believe that this is like maybe they do like a company lunch every day, because otherwise, you know.
And he gets really, really excited because he sees that Kyousuke is eating cold soba noodles.
Yes, so he's like, oh man,
and he's like, oh yeah, cold noodles, hot day, perfect.
Great job.
Where are mine?
And Kyousuke has eaten all the noodles, and Minoru's like, how could you jerk? You ate all the noodles. And Kyousuke's like, sorry, bud. I was super... See, again, this is just like a weird... Like, there's a lot of facial expressions going on here. Like, Minoru is kind of flipping out in a humorous way and does like a fake-out choke on Kyousuke. But it's...
Okay, the fake-out choke that you were describing is like... Remember early seasons of The Simpsons? When, like, Homer and Bart would be choking each other? It was like that.
Yeah, thank you. That's very good. So, and then they get, like, Dapu runs in and they get a Bozok alert. Hooray. So this fight over cold noodles is done. So what we see now is TT Turan, and he's doing kids' math homework. Like, that's his...
Right, like,
this is his diabolical plan.
They're at a public park, and there is a bunch of kids gathered around, and he is doing everyone's homework. He's just, like, sitting around and powering through it. And the kids are just watching him do it and extremely excited because they are not doing their homework, but it's getting done anyway.
Yeah, so Minoru and Kyousuke roll up, and Minoru's like, oh man, this actually, like, I know that Bozok are generally our enemy. This guy seems pretty great. This seems like a good dude, Kyousuke. He's doing a bunch of homework. Like,
kids love him. He's just helping out. Like, what could possibly be wrong with this? And Kyousuke, reasonably, says like, well,
very rightly,
it may appear
and
that way.
He is in fact,
but
he's in fact 100% correct.
Right, it's like, but in every other instance that we've encountered, the Bozok has a nefarious plan. Let's just assume this one is also a nefarious plan.
Yeah, so they roll up and they're like, kids, that's a monster. And the kids are like, he is doing our math homework. So in our opinion, anybody who gets in this dude's way is a monster. And you look like you're about to try and stop him. So y'all can pound salt. And the kids actually just like pick up rocks and just start pelting the Rangers. Yeah. Like, get out of here.
Well, because TT Terurin is like, hey, it's difficult for me to concentrate on your homework while these people are standing here arguing, so get rid of them for me, please.
And they just do.
And that is when they start to stone them.
So the Rangers book, and then we find out at least... So I'm not going to say that we don't find out what the plan is, but we do find out at least part of it, which is that TT Turan says, like, hey, kids... While I'm doing your homework, all I ask in return is watermelons. Children are very justifiably confused.
Dave, I have an idea. And that is that, as of this moment, this is the entire plan. Like, this will go sideways later in the episode, but for right now, I think that the entirety of TT Terurin's plan is to come down to Earth and do homework in exchange for watermelons. Because we're about to go up to Barbarian, and Instructor Richie Hiker is like, hey, I sent him down there. He's going to get all these watermelons and bring them back up here for the watermelon splitting contest. It's going to be great. And everyone says, yes, that will be great. And at no point does anyone say, and then we will destroy the Earth. I think they're just excited about their summer party.
Okay, I think this is an interesting development, because here's what we find out, it is this man has said, we're at Barbarian, Instructor Richie Hiker says, I didn't realize that it was a watermelon splitting, I read spitting, and then I was confused.
Me too.
But it's gotta be
one of the bits that confused me, because I thought it was a watermelon seed spitting contest.
I also assumed this. But no, it is a watermelon splitting contest. And then we see Instructor Richie Hiker, like, in a daydream. And the whole daydream is all the Bozook are at the beach, and Beauty Zanette is in, like, a slinky bikini, and she has, like, a big, like, Tetsubo-style club, and she is, like, walking around with it, and she smashes a watermelon, and then everybody eats the watermelon. And Instructor Richie... So, I think this whole plan is basically get Beauty Zanette into slinky bikini. How can we make that happen? Watermelon splitting contest at the beach. Let's do it.
Yeah, which I feel like that is telling me more about Instructor Richie Hiker than I ever need to know. That, like, this is the vector along which he's like, okay, what are we going to do? All right, splitting watermelons. This is what I'm into.
Well, okay, no, I kind of dig it, because there's a through line developing about Instructor Richie Hiker's plans. And Instructor Richie Hiker's plans are a lot less about blowing up the Earth and a lot more about making moves on Zanette.
I mean, I like that aspect of it. I just don't need to know about his very specific watermelon splitting fetish.
Oh, well, okay. Well, you did read a lot more into that than I did. I just assumed he was like, where can we split watermelons? Like, how can I get Beauty Zanette into a slinky bikini? We'll go to the beach.
Okay,
what's the pretense we're going to the beach? Smash watermelons.
Here is the order of events in the episode, and I can't believe I'm talking about this much, but I have it in my notes, is that they're talking about the watermelon splitting contest. Zanette gets excited. Richie Hiker goes into, like, the dream sequence that you were describing. The dream sequence ends on them all eating the smashed stuff. It comes back. He's, like, he comes back out of the vision, and he is, like, coming out of his reverie. And Zelmoda turns to him and calls him a pervert.
Right.
So, like,
which I did.
Like, in that order, I am assuming that Zelmoda's not like, you want to see her in a bikini, you are a pervert. He's like, no, you want to see her in a bikini smashing watermelons, you are a pervert.
You want, like, you want a Gallagher. He's like, you want sexy Gallagher. But then President Gyno was like, no, this is perfect. And genuinely, all I remember is that he says it's perfect. I don't know why he says it's perfect. I think maybe he just gets as far as, like, Beauty Zanette will be in this bikini, and that'll be great.
No, his is actually a little more altruistic. It's just like, hey, she seems like she's really into this. And if she's happy, then I'm happy. Let's do it.
Okay, see, I like this, because President Dynamo, his whole thing is also putting moves on Beauty Zanette. Like, that's why he's trying to destroy the Earth, is because Beauty Zanette wants him to. But he seems a little more like he is in love with Beauty Zanette, and he's like, oh, I will go do this thing for her, and as long as she's happy, I'm happy. Instructor Richie Hiker is definitely, like, the less cool of these two dudes. So we go down, and we see Koban Base, and Ichitaru is guarding it. I really like that Ichitaru has kind of gotten in on this.
Right, he's sort of been deputized.
Yeah.
Well, and also he is doing that because Signalman is busy, because Signalman is trying to do Ichitaru's homework.
Right. And Signalman cannot do it.
Right. Like, these are not quizzes on traffic laws. They're quizzes on algebra, and he does not know what he's doing.
But what should happen is the Bozook, the Wumpers, right? The Wumpers drive by. I think GT Turan is with them, and they're, like, throwing out tutoring flyers.
Uh-huh.
They're like, come to this address. It's an abandoned warehouse. Like, full on abandoned. Like, the windows are broken out. It's bad. So it's like, hey, children, come to this place alone with your homework and bring watermelons, and, like, we'll do the deal. Ichitaru says, like, yeah, this is great. Like, this is exactly what I want. Signalman cannot help me with this math homework. Someone's got to, because I'm not doing it.
Reasonable.
Anybody, any port in a storm. So we go from there to Kyousuke and Minoru. And they're upset with each other. And here's why. Kyousuke says, we should not play into this plan and do these children. This is a bozoke. He's clearly villainous.
Right.
Like, we need to stop
Well,
him.
and then Minoru is also upset because he says, man, like, we're the heroes. The children should be coming to us for help with their homework. And it's like, wait, why do you want to do their homework? He's like, well, because I'm a hero, and they should be coming to me because I have compassion for children. They should not be relying on a bozoke for this. We should go talk to them and convince them to let us do their homework. And Kyousuke...
Right.
And Kyousuke does not want any of this.
Like,
He's like, no, they should do their homework. Which Minoru,
hey,
Minoru
man.
does not seem to understand that concept. He's like, wait, you didn't have anyone do your homework for you when you were a kid? Like, how did you finish it?
And Kyousuke says, no, I did it. And he's like,
Even the
you
parts
didn't
you
even
didn't
get
understand?
a little help. And then Kyousuke doesn't answer. So clearly he did get some help. But
Well, no, I'm sorry, Dave. I have it in my notes here. He does answer. He says, no, the parts you don't understand is why there is homework. Like, if you already know how to do everything, you don't need the homework. That's why it's hard. Which I think is actually, like, I am not an educator, but that seems like a reasonable point.
Yeah. No, Kyousuke has zeroed in on what we call the zone of proximal development.
Ooh.
Yeah. Anyways, so Minoru's overall point here is like, listen, you won't help these children with their homework. You ate all the noodles. You're not compassionate. You do not have compassion for your fellow man. It's not cool. It's not a great look on you. And frankly, you are not a fit leader for the Carrangers because of it.
Right, because you won't help the children with their stuff, and you ate all my noodles.
Yeah.
And then they get into, like, they dive back into an argument about the noodles, and Minoru was like, no, it has, like, I brought it up, but it has nothing to do with this. And Kyousuke's like, yes, you were just mad about the noodles.
Okay,
and they're going
so,
back and forth, and their friendship is under great strain, Dave.
It is. Well, Matt, I mean, obviously we can see it, but is there a way that you really, like, zeroed in on the idea that their friendship was under great strain?
Well, Dave, it's because the kanji for the words friendship appear on the screen in golden letters, and then fracture and shatter into a million pieces.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No, that was a very good clue about the strain on their friendship. So the other Rangers show up.
Did that also happen in the episode where Natsumi and Yoko were fighting?
I'm not going to say it didn't. I don't recall precisely. So the other Rangers show up, and they are, again, they're all wearing Ranger colors, and at this point, I genuinely think that the show is just screwing with me. Like, I know that this is like a goofy season, and so I'm wondering if this is like a subtle joke that the Rangers never wear the right colors.
Oh, you're talking about how
Naoki,
like Naoki is wearing a green shirt?
Yeah, Naoki's in green, and Yuko is in yellow, and Natsumi is in
red,
blue, I think.
No, I forget what it is, but whatever it is, it's not yellow.
Right, like they're definitely wearing Ranger colors, and they're not wearing. And this has happened frequently enough now that I think it's a joke now. So, anyways, they're like, they're looking on, and they're like, this is not great, but we're not really sure how to intervene. Like, we'll just let the boys deal with it. And how they deal with it is Kyousuke says, you know what? Fine. You don't think you do it. You are the new leader of the Carrangers. Knock yourself out.
Congratulations. Have fun with it. And then they start, like, they get into a fist fight again. And that is how we go into our, like, commercial mid-episode break. Is the two of them just, like scrambling around on the ground trying to murder each other.
So the next scene is that we're back at Pegasus Motors, and Minoru he's got, like, a mobile chalkboard and a whole bunch of what look like homework exercise books is what I think he's doing. So I assume he's already done all this homework. That's not actually the case. I have no idea what these books actually are.
Right. I think they're they're quiz books, like workbooks to help you work through stuff. Because he also, he's got this big wagon that he's filling up, and there's, like, a globe in it. Like, he is creating for himself a mobile classroom, and then he's going to wheel it around town to, like, call to children and help them with their homework. Like the world's
Now,
most boring ice cream man.
Right. So he turns to the others and he's like, "Oh, all right, everybody, let's go help." And they're like, "No, this is a bad plan from top to bottom. Everything you think you're doing is dumb. We're not. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul." Like, no, we're not doing this. This is stupid.
Right, and like they just start walking away from him, and like, no, like all of this is dumb, and we hate it. Then he specifically tries to get Naoki, but Naoki has like hidden himself. He's like jumped behind a car, and there's this really wonderful little moment where, like, he thinks he knows where Naoki is, and he pops his head like over like a big toolbox case, and he's not there. And then when he's not there, Minoru like there's a cap for a can of spray paint that's sitting on top of this toolbox, and Minoru like picks it up and looks inside of it as though Naoki could possibly be hiding in there. It's wonderful.
Hey, man, who knows what car magic can do?
It's true. It's very true.
So we see Kyousuke, and he's up on he's not back at work. Like, he's still mad about this thing, and then he sees a flyer, like one of the homework flyers. And he's like, "Oh, this has got to be Turan. Like, I'm going to go, like, regardless of what Minoru is doing, like, I'm going to go deal with this."
Yeah.
So, like, I'll go check out this thing, and, like, I will defeat this bozoke since Minoru is such a knucklehead.
Right. We cut back to Minoru, and he's wandering around with his wagon of classroom stuff. And he can't find any kids, but he also finds the flyer. So now the two of them are sort of, like, heading towards the same direction from different areas of town.
I'm sorry. I was thinking, like, this cart is huge.
Oh, it's enormous.
This is like an ox cart. It's gigantic. And he's just sort of like, he's just like he doesn't even have like, he's just picking up by handles and pulling it behind him. Everybody is right to state it. This is the stupidest plan I've ever seen. So
this is the plan. This is the plan of a guy who has wanted to be the leader but has never considered what being the leader is. So now that he's in charge, he's like, okay, I've got to make a decision because I'm the leader. But like, has not actually thought of a good idea, so he's just going with his most recent idea and like doubling down on it.
Man, you know, Matt, I was having a lot of fun with this episode, and then you said that, and it just struck uncomfortably close to home. About truth in our lives and like the state of the world around us.
I was more thinking of like a new middle manager at the office sort of deal.
No. Your thing is a lot more fun because I was thinking about the Commander-in-Chief of the United States.
Well, I mean, Dave, listen, that's not always a fun chat. But we could have it if you want.
No, man, I'm good.
Okay,
I'm real good. Thanks, though. Anyway,
your monster's about to threaten to kill some children. Do you want to go back to that? It sounds a little more fun to talk about.
Yeah, a monster killing children is actually a lot cheerier topic. Let's go talk about that.
At least this one's got watermelon earrings, and that's fun and spunky. Woo!
Oh man, can someone please just like hit us up with a picture of Trump with watermelon earrings?
No, please, Dave,
would really
please
make my day.
do not.
Ignore Matt. Please tweet at us. Please do that. So anyways, Minoru is hauling his cart, his education cart, around an abandoned factory.
Like you do.
Sure enough, there's just Turan is in there with a bunch of children, and they've brought him sliced watermelon.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is no good." I, of course, am still confused because I'm still thinking of this as a watermelon spitting contest. And I was like, I feel like the seeds would still be in there, bud. But again, so it makes sense because he's like, this is already sliced. We can't have a splitting contest with this. He's furious. And now he reveals his evil. And he says, fine. If you dumb kids can't bring me proper water. And I feel like he could have just said, go get me different watermelons. But he says, if you can't bring me good watermelons, I'll just turn you into watermelons, and we will split you open.
I love that all of this seems like a more reasonable plan to TT Terurin than just swinging down to Earth and stealing some watermelons. Or even buying some watermelons. We know they go to a store sometimes. Like, next time you're going to buy some imoyokan, just go to the produce shop that's like 3 doors down and buy a watermelon. They've got them. You don't need to go through this much effort. Maybe on other planets that they have gone to, watermelons have existed, but are, like, incredibly rare. And TT Terurin just has no idea that you can just go to the store and buy a pile of them.
I mean, if that's the case, it seems weird to ask kids to go get them for you. Because, like, they'd be like, hey, children, I'll do your homework in exchange for the rarest emeralds. Like, just no version of this makes sense.
So he has threatened to turn these children into watermelons, and we see something that's actually very reminiscent of something we've seen before, which is children like in planters up to their neck with their heads transformed into something else. And in this case, their heads have been transformed into watermelons, and they see a vision of TT Terurin about to hit them in their watermelon heads, and it is very scary to them. We cut out of the vision.
Yeah,
And TT Terurin is like, okay, well, it's time to capture you now, snaps his fingers, and a cage falls from the ceiling.
Anyway, so Ichitaro's reaction, I love Ichitaro's reaction to getting caught in this cage. Because he just says, let's cry to let people know that we're upset. This is like, he does not freak out at all. Which I love, because, like, again, we've mentioned this, but in terms of people who have successfully dealt with Bozoke, the list goes the Carrangers, Ichitaru.
Right. Signal Man, usually.
Yeah, okay, Signal Man does beat out Ichitaru at this point. But for a while, like, it was not. So Ichitaru's like, oh yeah, and just call out and let people know that we are in distress and we will be saved. They cry for a while, and then they realize, like, oh, this isn't helping. And then they just stop.
Right, Ichitaro's like, never mind. Let's cut it out.
So Minaru sees all this, just looking in through like a busted plate glass window. I don't know why the fact that the window is broken like throws me off. Like, it's clearly an abandoned factory. It just like it's like extra abandoned with a broken window. And he's like, "Oh no, TT Turan is in fact a villain. I've got to call the other Rangers to help." So he hops on the phone. He's like, "Hey, everybody! Like, there's a Bozoke. I need help."
Well, I think what he actually says is, hey, everyone, the children need us. And so
that's
everyone
right.
on the other end of the like their communicators is like, oh my gosh, Minaru, come on. We're not going to do these kids' homework. You are overreacting. Like, just take a chill pill, and they all hang up on him. Without realizing,
yes.
like, it is a Minaru who cried wolf sort of situation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Minaru's like, well, I guess I gotta just go for it. So he goes to Henshin, but he gets blasted. Not only does he get blasted, he loses his key.
Right, like
so he can't Henshin.
He like shouts at the communicator or like trips and hits his head on something. Like, basically, he was trying to sneak up on them, and all of a sudden, not only has he not snuck up on them, but he is surrounded.
Yeah. So Kyousuke, so he's running for his life. Kyousuke shows up just because he followed the flyer. He finds Minaru's keys, like, oh man, like, Minaru must be in trouble. Like, let me go check this out. So he gets into the fight, and they manage to escape, basically. Like, Kyosuke's presence allowed they can both get away. Minaru says, like, my dude, I thought you lacked compassion. You came to help me with the kids' homework. You were there for me in my time of need. Like, you truly are the best leader. Like, you do have compassion. I'm so sorry I ever doubted you.
And Kyousuke is like, no, man, I just found a flyer. I came into the address. Like, it wasn't about you. And Minaru says, no, you don't have to pretend. I know. Like, I know that you have compassion. I know that you're shy about it, but I know that you really do care deep down.
We are super bros forever. You're the best. I do appreciate that Kyousuke didn't lie. Like, he very easily could have, like, ridden that back into Minaru's goodwill. And he's like, no. Nope, did not care about you. Just came for the flyer. Was going to punch that monster real hard. So then Kyousuke calls, and he's like, hey, everybody, there are definitely Bozoku here. We need help. And everyone's like, oh, if Kyousuke says it, like, yeah, let's get down.
Oh, the leader called. Okay.
So
someone trustworthy called us.
Right. So they're in the fight, and they have set up a trap for Kyousuke and Minoru have set up a beautiful trap for the Wumpers, which is Minoru has hidden a cord that right as they are walking up, he pulls the cord up, and they all trip over it. Kyousuke, from like the second story, does like a flying body slam on all the Wumpers, and then Minoru runs out with just like a metal bucket and just starts clocking him in the head.
Now, here's what's weird about this. You might assume that because they have laid a trap and are fighting the Wumpers, that at this point, they have transformed. But they haven't. Like, normally we see in a fight, they transform, and then they just, like, beat the Wumpers very easily. This time, I don't know if they wanted to do, like, a quick team-building exercise, but this is all done untransformed and, like, using a bunch of props to make up for the fact that they don't have their henshin superpowers. It's a very strange scene. I like it, but it's weird.
Well, Minoru, I think, just now gets his key back. I don't know why Kyousuke didn't henshin.
No.
Except solidarity, maybe?
Kyousuke had Minoru's key. He found it and brought it to him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did just say that, didn't I? Okay, well, I got no idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun scene. I just don't know why it exists.
So, they do a bro shake. They're like, friendship! Big kanji, golden letters. Everybody's cool again. Now it's on. They henshin. We see the kids. They cry again, like on Ichicharu's command. Ichicharu's like, all right, let's give this one more shot. Pegasus laser, because they've gotten the car. They blast Turan. The kids are freed. And then the other Rangers show up. They've mounted Formula Nova on the Dragon Cruiser and just blast again. Then Minoru's like, guys, you came when I called you. You were concerned. They have no compunctions. They're like, yes, we did. Because we're your friend, and we care about you. And we trust you when you say things.
So now that they're all together, I think there's maybe a little bit more of a fight. But Minoru turns to Turan, and he says, you, how dare you? You tried to break up our friendship. I will not forgive this. You must die. Which, I mean, listen, he's a monster that was going to crush children's heads with a club after he transformed them into watermelons.
Yeah, so he's not a good
so, like,
man.
definitely he should get stopped. But he had, like, all of the stuff that happened between Minoru and Kyousuke was entirely because of Minoru and Kyousuke. Like, Turan does not know who these people are, really.
I would in fact suggest it is entirely because of Minoru.
I mean, Kyousuke did finish the Noodles, but mostly Minoru.
Well, okay, fair enough. No, that's true. He did do that. So Kyousuke has two swords now, which is very cool. He's got his like regular, I guess it's a battle stick and a sword. No, they're swords. So like he's got two swords and he does a twin cam crush, which I thought was a great move. And then Turan is like, now we'll have Imo-Yokan, and then like he's a giant.
Dave, my section of notes, I have a little bit of a shorthand for this part of the episode. And the shorthand I have for this part of the episode is death, growth, and robots, which is just like, that 3 to 5 minute chunk at the end of every episode where like the monster dies, then the monster grows, and then there's the robots. It's just death, growth, and robots, which I also think would be a great title for something, but I'm not sure what it would be.
You should get that as like a wall decal in like the Live, Laugh, Love font. And then you could just put it up on your wall. And then people walk in and be like, I don't get it. And you'd be like, you wouldn't, would you, casual? Anyways, yeah, so my shorthand for this is that I just don't write anything down. And then like if something notable happens, I'll be like, oh, they did a cool thing. But yeah, like he gets big, he dies, and then he gets big, and then they summon robots, and then they kill him again. So the very last bit of the episode is they're eating watermelon. Real watermelon, not the transformed skull of a child. Just to clarify. Because the children never actually get turned into watermelons. This plan only was in Potentia.
And they're all eating the watermelon, and there's like one slice of watermelon left. And Kyousuke reaches for it, and then he looks over at Minoru, and he says, hey, you know what? you take the last piece of watermelon. And Minoru's like, you know what? I appreciate you, pal. You take the last slice of watermelon. And then they get into like a magnanimous off to see like who could be like more giving. And like they just get back into the exact same fight all over again, just coming from the other angle. And as they argue, I think it's Ichitaru just wanders over and starts eating the piece of watermelon.
Yeah, it's great.
Which is fair. It's going to get warm.
And then Signal Man is there. Right, Signal Man is there, and he's eating watermelon. I'm not really sure how he... I'm not really sure how he's planning to eat watermelon, but whatever.
He is moving pieces of watermelon close to his face, and then the camera is cutting away.
So, anyways, and then that's it.
Yeah, so, Dave, that is the end of that episode, but of course it is not the end of our episode, because first, we need to determine where TT Terurin lands in the Creature Royale. I like this guy because he's so weird. Like, he genuinely, all he wants is some watermelons to bring back. But then at the end of the episode, you get this bit of darkness where, like, genuinely all he wants is watermelons. But if he has to transform a child into a watermelon to get one, he has no compunction about that.
Yeah. I'm not really sure what to do with this dude.
Okay, Dave, here is my sort of jumping off point. The main hook that I think is interesting about TT Terurin is that he is the smartest of the Bozoke, but what he actually is that he is the most, like, scholastically inclined of the Bozoke, and he is way more interested. Like, he does do villainy at the end, but he is genuinely way more interested in his, like, passions of doing homework than he is in being a monster that harms people.
Yeah, doing homework and acquiring watermelon.
Right. And so I feel like in that way, my jumping off point is going to be number 75 on the list, Pachinko Master, who very similarly, like, they sent him down to be a monster, but he wasn't really interested in being a monster. All he wanted to do was play pachinko.
Yeah, he's not nearly as good as Pachinko Master.
No, but so that's my ceiling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think we're gonna get. Yeah, I that's fine, dude. Like, okay, spot number 100 is Duke Trump, who also turns kids into stuff.
Yes, Duke Trump.
I don't like him nearly as much as Duke Trump.
Yeah, Duke Trump did turn children into playing cards when he made them dance around, and then he took over a amusement park, and he was very good. So he's not that.
Yeah.
But he is he is a character with a personality, which I think definitely puts him above some of the lower Bozoke.
Yeah. I think it does. So he's got a personality. He's sort of interesting. I think just the fact that he has a personality makes him cooler than, like, he's better than Empress Juza. But he's not as cool as Archbishop Saw. Archbishop Saw is like a weird Emperor Palpatine Saw man.
Yeah, Archbishop Saw good. It's kind of wild how big of a gap there is now between Archbishop Saw, who is at number 132, and Iron Mask Choryu, who is sitting pretty at number 36.
Yeah, well, Archbishop Saw is just a villain. You know, he's a good villain, but he's just a villain, and he doesn't have that conflict that Iron Mask Choryu has.
But they were a duo, you know.
So is that it?
Like, they came in on the same episode, and then, like, I'm sure
they used to be right next to each other.
At the time, I'm sure it was like, well, let's put, one right above the other. And now, 5 seasons later.
So I think that's it. I think TT Turan is in at the new slot 133.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Well, that, Matt, 133, and that is going to do it for us.
Yes, Dave, that is going to do it for another episode of License to Carranger. Before we finish up here, I'd like to remind you all that you can email the show at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. If you want to get any updates on future episodes or check out the things that we are talking about on Twitter, we're at Super Sentai Bros. If you like the show, please remember that shining in Apple Podcasts, I guess now, because iTunes is gone, and it screws up my entire pattern here. Shining in the Apple Podcasts app, or whatever app that you're using, there are 5 stars. Please, rate, review, subscribe, give us 5 stars on those. That would be very kind of you. If you're not doing anything else this afternoon. If you're busy,
It would be
I
cool.
get it. People are busy. Just remember us next time. If you'd like to listen to any of the other great Retrograde Orbit Radio shows, you can do that all at retrogradeorbitradio.com. Once again, we are the Super Sentai Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
And we'll see you next week for the greatest show on Earth.